Let's
Big
go.
week.
We
Game of the
hyped.
week.
We are
Game of the week.
hyped. We got
Game
the 7-2
the
division
week.
leading Pittsburgh Steelers versus the 7-3 second place in the division Baltimore Ravens. Boy, oh boy, oh boy.
Guess where they're going to be at 4:30 Sunday? Still in second place.
Let's go, yins, bitches. It's division time, baby. Yes, sir. Welcome to Six Rings and Counting. I'm your host, Corey Idle. And joining me, as always, is my man, Mr. Lou Willard. Lou, you ready to get right into this?
You know we are. Big week. Game of the week.
We are.
Game of the week.
Hyped. We got the 7-2 division leading Pittsburgh Steelers versus the 7-3 second place in the division Baltimore Ravens. Boy, oh boy.
Guess where they're going to be at 4:30 Sunday? Still in second place.
Tell them about it.
They still going to be in second place.
Tell them about
it. Messing around. You look. Let me adjust my camera. You see that right there? You don't mess around. Better come get you some.
I love it.
And unfortunately, they will. This game is going to be great. Man, look, this is the 36th time. That's 3-6 that Tomlin and Harbaugh has coached against each other in the National Football League. That is unheard of. That
is amazing. It is something akin to old school football we don't get anymore from our generation coming up. 80s and 90s, where you got these two old school coaches, been with their teams, and it is a true rivalry. This isn't one of those fake things like, oh, we're going at, it's not a Bills Jets kind of thing. Who cares? This is Packers, real.
This isn't Packers Bears just because they've been playing against each other since the beginning of football.
There it is.
This is a testament to how stable these two organizations are, where they just don't panic and fire coaches. Once they found their coach, well, Pittsburgh's never done it, but then once Baltimore's found Harbaugh, he's not leaving until he retires.
Yep.
Same thing with Tomlin. And 36 times, so it's a compliment to the organizations. It's a bigger compliment to the coaches to be able to be stable enough for this long to stay in this game. I mean, Tomlin at the presser calling him Harbs. That they know each other that well. Yeah, Harbs.
Yep.
It's crazy. This game is going to be good.
This is what we watch football for. This is what we get hyped for. And this is what strikes me about this game. And I know usually quick PSA for everyone out there. Usually we go into last week, we break down the stats, yada yada. You'll hear some talk about last week. That's not this show. We got 27 minutes about to talk to y'all. We're talking about this game, period. So,
you know, the biggest winner out of this game, though, before we even get started, is the Browns, because Pittsburgh go to Cleveland on a short week on Thursday night. We'll deal with those clowns on the next show, though. Enough said about them.
Thank goodness they're the Browns, as always.
Yeah, thank goodness they're bad.
Yeah. This game strikes me a little bit differently this year, and this is why. Traditionally, this has been a field goal fest.
Oh yeah,
these offenses are very different.
Yeah, there's been a few shootouts in this game, but typically it's come down to who has the ball last, and they arguably have the two best kickers in the league. As much as I love Boz, the numbers don't lie. Tucker is the best kicker in NFL history if you just go by numbers.
Yeah.
Where his numbers are right now, he's the best kicker in NFL history. But if it comes down to it, I'll put it on the foot of Boz, especially this year with the number of 50-plus kicks he has. And this game can do that too, but the difference is that kick might make it 37-35. Instead of 16-13.
Exactly.
Where the game a lot of times is.
Exactly. This is going to be an absolute shootout. The Ravens defense traditionally is fantastic. Man, you even got your dogs hyped for this game. That's what we're talking about.
They do.
They're jamming on it. We'll talk over them. It's all right. We got fans always in the background screaming outside the studio. It's just life we live, guys. It's the life we live. But the Ravens defense traditionally is the dominant defense in the NFL. You're scared to play against them. They hit you hard. They're fast. They're well coached. The Steelers are the same way. The steel curtain has been a thing since the 70s. That's not going away. We pride ourselves in Pittsburgh on that defense. This year's a little different. Our secondary is, to me, playing the best I've seen in the 2000s. Our secondary is on fire, whereas the Ravens secondary is severely lacking. This is the first year I've seen the Ravens without any kind of a number one cornerback, number one all-pro kind of safety back there playing. Like, they just don't have that pass defense anymore.
The thing is, there's like the Ravens are coming in at number one against the run.
Mm-hmm.
But it's because you're 32 against the pass. That's why you're number one against the run, that teams don't have to run the ball against you.
That's it.
Look for those numbers to change, because Pittsburgh is still going to run the ball. They just ain't coming out throwing 45, 50 times. It ain't going to happen. But the Ravens still have, I don't know if he'll play or not because he got dinged up. Kyle Hamilton, kid out of Notre Dame, is just as good as Minka at that safety spot. They move him around. He is an amazing player. Would love to have him. Could not afford him with the players that we already got. Marlon Humphreys is on the back. He's on the back end of his career, but he's still having a good year. But outside of that, in that defensive backfield, there's nobody else.
No.
That's why teams are throwing on them, and they're not quite, unless I'm wrong, which I could be, I don't see them getting the pass rush on teams that they've been getting. But the numbers are kind of skewed too, because there's been teams that threw against them 40 and 45 times. So if you only get 3 sacks, it looked like you're not getting pressure. But they threw 96 times. You only got 6 sacks. Well, when did you get them? And this, that, and the other.
Sure.
But nonetheless, they're a team that the ball's going to be moved on them. The Bengals are going to move the ball on everybody, whether they win or not. They're going to move the ball. The Browns always play them tough. The hell, the Browns beat them. So it's a division game. It's going to. I cannot wait if you can't tell.
Do you see Jaylen Warren? And I mean, last week he was off to he had a great game. The only thing that interrupted that game was a fumble, but he was getting a little more. This was the first time we really saw Jaylen Warren getting a fair share of workload.
Get some opportunity.
So with that, with Baltimore's, let's just hypothetically say they are a traditional run-stopping defense. They have earned that number one. They are number one against the run. So fine. We got to say Najee, maybe not a big role, but Jaylen Warren coming out of that backfield with his ability to catch, with his ability to run a little bit faster than Najee. Do you see him playing a bigger role in this game, or do you think that fumble actually hurt his role a little bit?
Oh, no, it didn't hurt his role. It didn't hurt his role. I mean, first off, the fumble's the fumble, but the play should have been blown dead, but the fumble's the fumble. The reason it wasn't blown dead is because the NFL or the officials know how Pittsburgh plays. They play so aggressive, they didn't want to blow the ball dead before he was done running.
Right.
Some teams, they blow that ball dead already. That's not going to happen with Pittsburgh. So he cannot drop the ball. As a former running back, I don't care how long they wait to blow the whistle. You can't drop the ball. That's on him. But it's not going to affect his role. Najee's still going to have a big role in the game. And because Pittsburgh's going to try to enforce their will on them like they always do. And I don't mean they always get the job done. I mean, they always try to enforce their will on them. And Baltimore's going to do the same because they come in with a guy that people call King Henry.
Yes, sir.
On top of Lamar. This is the first time Pittsburgh's faced this particular combination.
Yep.
And then you add the new guys into it, because there's always new guys thrown into the mix. They bringing in him and Deontay Johnson, who already over there crying because he ain't getting no targets. But where'd you think you got traded to?
Oh, yeah, exactly.
You couldn't have got traded to a worse place if you wanted the ball thrown to you all the time. They ain't gonna throw the ball unless they have to.
Well, he's a receiver. Half his job is to cry. That's what I understand.
Another half
their life to be like. Exactly.
You got your job come in 3 parts: cry, block, and then get the ball.
That's it.
When you on that team, that you don't see Zay Flowers crying because he ain't getting the ball all the time. But they got that. We're going out there with Patrick Queen. We got Herbig should be back.
Yep, Herbig's back. Highsmith is out for a little bit with the low ankle sprain.
I hate that, but you leave that now. That's how important that Preston Smith trade is. Huge. There you go. Because he played a good game too. Mm-hmm. He played a good game last week, and that dude is big.
And you still don't have to expect much from him in this game with Herbig being back. So this makes it a little bit easier for Preston Smith to be able to come in a little more easily for certain packages, as opposed to being necessary and maybe not knowing everything we're going to be calling. Yeah, am I right on that, or am I totally off base?
No. I mean, no. You're right. You're absolutely right. His job is to spell the other 2 guys, and all 3 of their jobs is to keep Lamar Jackson ass in that pocket.
Mm-hmm.
That's their job. Like when you look at the stat line from last week. TJ Watt did not record a tackle. Alex Highsmith did not record a tackle, even though he had a sack, but was called back for a defensive penalty. Neither one of them recorded a tackle. That's never happened since they've been playing together. But you know what did happen? They kept that young kid in the pocket. He had 5 yards rushing for the game.
That's it. And that's what we talked about last week as well, was that containment. Is that what we're going to see again against Lamar here? Or is Lamar just somebody you can't contain?
No, it better be, because last week Cam Hayward had 2 sacks because they funneled him to the guys in the middle, and the guys in the middle contained him. Lamar hasn't had, I think he's had 1 big game against the Steelers. Everything else has been very average or below average. So you look at that 1 or 2 ways. They either really have his number, like the Buffalo Bills always had Dan Marino's number, or something like that. I think that's the true story. I think that's the example I was going to go to.
Makes sense.
And they may just have it. They may just have his number, or he due to throw for 300 and run for 150. You just look at it. But Pittsburgh has always struggled against the Joe Flacco.
Yeah.
They lost to him this year. Hell, I was at the game in Pittsburgh where Joe Flacco threw for almost 400 yards, but Pittsburgh beat him because Billiam threw for 505.
Well, and I think that goes back to what we originally started this conversation with, was the coaches. When you know each other so well, there's not really too many surprises you can throw back out there. Deontay might help a little bit. It's just because he's a new receiver. He's going to put a little bit more pressure on our second, third DBs. But at that same time, I'm not worried about that. Our secondary is firing on all cylinders. What has me worried is the combination of Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson rushing for 1,120 yards and 538 yards, respectively, this season. That is trouble.
That it could be. It's a potential problem. It is a potential problem, but we don't have a Derrick Henry, and our quarterback doesn't run anymore. But we have one hellfire running game. The object is going, like, they may have the number 1 rushing defense in the league, but again, I think that's only because they have the number 32 ranked passing defense in the league. Mm-hmm. So you're going to see Pittsburgh try to keep the ball from them, and I think Pittsburgh's going to run the ball at them. And if we are throwing the ball, it is going to be a shootout. Because Mike Williams showed up and looked like he wants to play. And like you and I talked when you were down here, I watched him and he was blocking. That's what tells me you're interested. You're engaged. You're actually blocking when we're running the ball. Running plays, you're blocking. You're blocking for the other receivers when they catch it. We've added some significant pieces And as have they, but Deontay's already crying on their side. Hey, keep crying, man. Create some conflict. We use it because this game is huge. Pittsburgh can go up 2 games on them Sunday because they haven't had their bye yet.
Yep.
So Pittsburgh could go up. They can go up 2 games.
No, this is a huge test for the Steelers. I feel like this first half of the season for us so far has almost been like a preseason. We've tested out our quarterbacks. They both fit very well, very differently, but they both fit very well for the system. We can win with either of them. We've played some of these teams that, we won. We lost a couple. We figured out some kinks. We fixed them. No big deal. Now we're rolling into the divisional game. Let me ask you this. Keaton Mitchell, he's back off of his injury from last year.
Mm-hmm.
His speed brings a totally different aspect to what their running game is right now. I mean, I get it. Lamar Jackson is fast, fine. But I mean, from a change of pace direction, Derrick Henry, Keaton Mitchell, those are 2 totally different running backs. Do you see him being an X factor here? Or if you're a D coordinator, are you even scheming anything against him?
No. I mean, that's the short answer is no.
Yeah.
I'll be shocked if he has 4 touches. Now, when they go to Baltimore at the end of the year or later in the year, I think it's a few weeks or whenever I don't remember when it is.
Yeah.
It may be different because if I remember correctly, the kid looked good till he got hurt.
Oh, yeah, it's great.
All of his big games was in Baltimore.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't do a lot on the road for whatever reason. They didn't even have Derrick Henry. You got Derrick Henry. You're going against the Steelers. Give a damn who your backup is. If he got a big role, you're playing the game the wrong way. If Derrick Henry doesn't get 25 touches, they're not trying to win the game.
Fair enough.
And a team is going to run 65 to 70 plays on a good week.
Mm-hmm.
So he needs at least 25 to 30 touches. Justice Hill still need his 5. You up to 30. The other 30 got to be passes. You force Lamar to throw 30 times. I trust our DBs. Cam 100%. Sutton looked really good last week, and they moved him around. And Baltimore doesn't have a receiver that makes you nervous. Not one that makes you nervous.
No.
They have some they have some good ones, but you're not going up against a CD Lamb, a Jamar Chase, a T. Higgins. You're not going up against any of those guys. You're going up against Zay Flowers and Deontay Johnson. The kid that caught the long ball last week, it was short, but then he ran it the rest of the way. But nobody worried about him. I forget. I don't even remember his name. And hopefully hopefully he don't make me remember his name.
You know that's right. And this is, I think, what maybe the thing about the Ravens offense this year that is the most different and is a testament to Lamar Jackson is Zay Flowers has 50 receptions, 688 yards on the season. Rashad Bateman, 31, 501. Mark Andrews, 30, 357. Justice Hill, 27, 272. He is spreading the ball around. There are so many different receivers on this list. And I'm not even counting the guys at the bottom that caught one pass like Deontay Johnson and Patrick Ricard. I mean, I'm starting at Derrick Henry, who caught 10 and working up. So he is spreading the ball. I mean, their leading receiver has 688 yards. That's insane. That's just not not what you would expect from an offense that has scored 31 touchdowns on the season? Or I'm sorry, 39 touchdowns on the season. And that's compared to the Steelers scoring 21.
And I can tell you this. If Baltimore beats Pittsburgh, Pittsburgh is going to make them beat us passing the ball. You will not beat the Pittsburgh Steelers by running the ball over top of them. It's just not going to happen. If you do, you're a daisy. And what they say in the movie, you're no daisy. That's what they said. You're no daisy. You ain't lining up and just running over top of Pittsburgh. And so Lamar's going to have to throw that ball. But this is the best defensive backfield Pittsburgh's put on the field in years. And I'm not sure this is the strongest receiving core that they have. And this is not a knock against Lamar. He can't throw the ball. Yeah, he can. He's been lighting people up all year throwing the ball. He hasn't even been running as much as he used to.
No, he's only got
because he's gotten better throwing the ball.
Oh, Andy's got
in his 7th or 8th year.
Mm-hmm.
And you can turn it around and hand it to this man. So this game is going to be a slugfest from the rip.
Oh, yeah. To give you an idea of what Lou's talking about here, Lamar's got 199 completions on 288 attempts. That's a 69% completion percentage. 2,669 yards. He's averaging 9.3 yards a throw or a completion, 266 yards a game with 24 touchdowns, 2 interceptions, and he's taken 13 sacks. The best stat I read about that for the Steelers is he's taken 13 sacks. That means you can't hit him.
It also means that he's just not belling out like he used to. So I bet you all of those numbers they've played 10 games. So I bet you all of those numbers through 10 games in his career are career highs.
Yep.
I would say, okay, at least 90% for somebody to get on there. It's only 90%. But I bet you it's 90% all career highs. Because he's sitting back there and he's getting rid of the ball. He's reduced the amount of hits he's taken. And sometimes he's just taking a sack and just going down. Instead of trying to run out, he's just going down to avoid the hit. And look, if he's my quarterback, that's what I want. I don't want Russ running around like like a chicken with his head cut off.
Oh, no.
Because neither one of them is young as Justin Fields. Justin Fields, you go ahead and take off. Because you big, number one. You bigger than both of them.
Mm-hmm.
And you younger, you're faster, and you can go. But you still better slide at the end. But Pittsburgh still has to contain Mark Andrews in this game because Mark Andrews was non-existent for the first 4 or 5 weeks. People were dropping him in fantasy football.
Yep.
I traded him. And now look, big trade.
I'm happy with it.
Matter of fact, congratulations, Big Trade. Just so the people know, Big Trade beat me this week in fantasy football. I still got a better record, but Big Trade beat me.
I'm sure they expected it.
Because our mutual good friend's team is terrible is why I lost. He know who he is, and he know that raggedy team is.
Yeah, what Lou's saying is the Dolphins suck.
Look, fins up. Win the fins up. Been waiting.
Man, we ain't got time to talk about your tragic fantasy football season.
I'm 6-4.
We got to keep it rolling. I can see the future, man. I mean, I ain't Miss Cleo, but I can read these tea leaves. You know what I mean?
Like her.
That's a first. On paper, our offense does not even come close to stacking up. And I mean, just you take Lamar's numbers, what we just said, over 2,600 yards, yada, yada, yada. We're at about 1,800 yards passing right now, a little under. Our leading rusher has 645 yards. I mean, that's just above Lamar Jackson, let alone Derrick Henry's almost doubled that. Now, game plan's different. What is it? George Pickens, our leading receiver, he's got 40 receptions, 639 yards. I don't know, though. There's some kind of weird confidence I'm getting from this game where the way the Steelers have looked, damn the stats, the way the eye test is telling me they're going to handle the Ravens.
And that's what I was getting ready to tell you. I was getting ready to say, you're pulling stats from 9 of our games. They got 10 games, and we've only had our starting quarterback for 3 games. He's 3-0. What does stats look like for the last 3 games compared to what their stats over the last 3 games look like? And then who'd you play?
Yep.
And the stats were never going to be equal with Justin Fields playing because the Steelers simply were not going to let Justin Fields lose the game. Even though they believe in him and they want him back. They want him for the future. But they were not going to let him put the ball in harm's way too much.
Well, I think that's why they wouldn't let Justin put the game into plays, because they do want him back, and they do not want the fans turning on him. Because if that happens, he is not coming back. Period.
Well, Fuck, Russ's first game, we booed him off the field after the third possession.
Mm-hmm.
You know we ain't messing around. He got booed after 3 possessions after they made the quarterback change. And so just the whole dynamic of the play calling was different. That's why the stats look the way they look. But the bottom line is the record is 7-2.
That's it.
Russ is given, and now Russ also has the other bigger body receiver to throw it up to that Justin didn't. But even, I'll tell you, if Justin had him, he wasn't throwing it up to him. That's one of the things that you and I talked about again, too.
100%.
He was not even attempting to throw that Russ is attempting, even if it falls incomplete. Fields wasn't attempting that throw. He'll learn to attempt it, but this is the week. Let me ask you a question. Do we see the Justin Fields package this week?
I was literally just about to ask you that. That's insane. Get out of my head, Willard. This is crazy.
See, I put it on you. Do we see the Justin Fields package this week?
I think if the game is close, yes. I think they'll break out a little something just to get a momentum shift. It's their own little renegade moment if the game is close. That being said, if what I think is going to happens, and we actually handle them, no. I think they save that until they need it.
Oh, if we win, and you're not going to see anything like that.
No.
And you notice Pittsburgh ran the fake punt last week. Yep. Great call. Kid just dropped the ball. He just dropped the ball.
Yep.
But you know why they ran it? Because now Baltimore got to prepare for it. They got to take time out of their week to prepare for it. That's exactly why they ran the fake punt. They could have ran it from a different spot on the field, but who knew the kid was going to drop the ball? But now Baltimore has something else to prepare for. Tomlin's been talking about, there's packages for Fields. There's packages for Fields. No one's seen a snap yet with a package for Fields since Russ took over. Fields has not taken a snap since Russ took over. Baltimore has to go back and look at the film from when Fields played, and they have to look at it. So they're just occupying their time. You only got 168 hours in a week, people. That's 7 days, 168 hours. They're trying to eat them. They're trying to eat them all up.
Here's what I would say that Justin Fields package would probably look like: is he's set off either as a second back or as a slot receiver. They send him in motion. It's a pitch, and it's not Pickens who breaks loose because they'll be expecting that. It's going to be Mr. Mike Williams, our new hire. And he will be flying down the field after that release from his block. I think that's something pretty close to what you'll see. The mustache, the Arthur Smith mustache is telling me.
He's either throwing it deep to Williams or he's hitting Calvin on something about a 30-yard dig. Digs are typically 15 yards. That crossing route for people. But it'll be something like that. I can't see it going to Pickens just because they're going to have him bracketed anyway because they better.
They have to.
They better. If they don't, we won't even need it. He won't see the field because Pickens will light him up.
Nope.
So this is going to be a hellfire game. What's your prediction?
Oh, man, it is going to be a good game. Wrapping up the show, now I wouldn't be surprised if this is close because I understand division. We just said it's a true rivalry game, and you can throw everything out the window when it comes to those.
It's going to be close.
That being said, I think the Steelers in the fourth quarter put it away, and I think we are probably looking at about 38 to, let's call it 24, 27.
See, and in this rivalry, that's a blowout in this rivalry.
Exactly.
Because the games are typically so close.
Yep.
But I like where your head is. You're saying we're here, stop them, boom, put the game away, done.
Yep.
And I see it even closer than that because the addition of Derrick Henry is just going to be, it's just something different. I see Pittsburgh 35 to even of a number as far as the touchdowns go. There's going to be some field goals in this game.
Oh, for sure.
So I would see Pittsburgh 34, 31. But I think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I think it really is.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it has to be. It just
I don't think either team shuts the other team down because the offenses look so good right now.
Well, right. And I mean, let's face facts. They are that good.
And that's a credit to them because Pittsburgh's defense is dynamic. That defense is crazy. And but it's just going to be a hard ask because every time we score, they get the ball back. Yep. It's that simple. How many times you going to stop them? So if they're going to keep getting it back, you better be ending your drives with a kick. And I don't mean one to start with a P. I mean an extra point or a field goal.
Yeah. If you're doing a lot of
scoring.
Yeah, if you got to do a lot of punts in this game, you're going to look like another word that sounds a lot like that.
Yeah. I'll be shocked if this is low scoring.
Oh, 100%. That being said, true or false? We'll end the show with this. True or false? Time of possession wins this game.
Typically true. But who runs a punt back? Does Cordell Patterson run a kickoff back? Because
you always got to make things count. We're trying to get out of here. You said true. It's true. For Drew Willard, true. I'm Corey Idle. This man's eating into my ad time. That's my money. I'm Corey Idle. We'll see you next week for 6 Rings of Counting.